Now when you generate an image on openart, you can turn it into a video without even leaving openart. Let's take a look. And by the way, openart is sponsoring this video, so you should assume that everything I'm saying is biased, although I'm really trying not to be. Here in my creation history on openart, I'll just click on this image of this robot sitting at a desk doing some work. You can tell by this little comparison divider that I've upscaled this image, and that's just one of the things you can do with an image you've created here. You've got lots of other options, but the newest one is on the top all the way on the right, image to video. So I'll just click. I'm going to leave the creativity level at 0.5, which is the default right in the middle. A prompt is optional, but I'm going to go ahead and drop one in here. I just said a robot sitting at a desk turns and looks at the camera, and then I'll click create. In a little bit under 5 minutes, we've got our video, so let's open it up and see what our robot does. All right, looks like he's working at the computer. He turns. Oh, he kind of looks at the camera there. He's working there a little bit, and then he turns and his eyes go weird, and then he looks, I wouldn't say quite at the camera, but at least in this general direction. Let me show you a few others I've created, starting with this lovely lady. I had this image of her just standing here on this sort of small town street. I took the image over to AI and had it write a big long video prompt for me, and this is what it came up with. And I thought it did pretty good, but I didn't like really these twinkling lights over here, and whatever this thing was, it wasn't real clear in the picture, but it was fine when it was just there and blurry, but now it looks like something's on fire and I'm not crazy about it at all. So I went back to that prompt that AI wrote for me and I saw this bokeh effect from storefront lights and thought, well, let me take that out. That's probably the problem here. So with that part taken out, I ended up with this, which I thought was much better. I'm fine with the blur in the background. I think it has her. She comes out looking great. There's even somebody else that sort of is walking on the sidewalk and a car shows up. Next, I started with this image of a dog playing in the snow, and I didn't even give this one a prompt. I just set the creativity at 0.5, left the prompt blank, and hit create video, and this is what it did. It did all right, except for on that first sort of pounce, right there, when he puts his front paws down the first time, he sort of completely changes. It's not the same dog really anymore. His face, his fur, everything about him sort of changes. And his mouth too. He gets some sort of long, strange teeth there or something. Next, I started with a goofy looking blue fish, and I've got a prompt about animating his movements, blinking, minor facial expressions, a sense of subtle lifelike motion, maintain the serene underwater setting with colorful coral and plants in the background. And I notice almost immediately it looks like my fish is trying to talk underwater there, and he's got a human-like mouth, and I thought, well, daggone it, if I was trying for that, I'd have never been able to get it. But here, when that isn't what I was really going for, sure enough, it showed up with that. So I tried that one again with a shorter prompt and said, animate the bright blue fish's movement in the water, maintain serene underwater setting with colorful coral and plants in the background. I took out that part about the facial expression or whatever that was. With that change to the prompt, this is how it turned out, and I liked this version a whole lot better. His lips sort of float, and at one point his mouth kind of opens a little bit there, and we see a bit of a human-like look. Here I was going for a drone flyover of this town, and it did pretty good. I mean, I really like, well, just the starting image that I had. I really like these mountains in the back. I like the blue color. I like the amber, the lights against it. But the cars on the street in the front didn't really impress me. I mean, I guess those are cars. I don't know. They're just kind of warpy, weird lights, and I wasn't so fond of that. But I thought rather than trying to get those to come out right by prompting the video, maybe I ought to work on the image a little bit. So I used the exact same video prompt, but I just cropped that original image to get rid of that street or road that's down here at the bottom so that hopefully I wouldn't have the weird cars. Now in this case, when it ran in the video, there must just really need to be a street here because it sort of created one. I guess it sees this street light in the bottom right, and it sort of puts a street back in. It's not as obvious, and there is one little flicker of light there, but it's not nearly what was bothering me in the first one. Of course, the drone appears to be flying backward in this version, whereas the first one it was going forward. I mean, I didn't tell it specifically go forward, so, that's on me, I guess. So this image to video feature is using Kling 1.6 standard, and it's creating a 5-second video. There isn't an option to extend it to 10-second yet. Now, the folks at OpenArt, who've been adding a lot of stuff lately, said that there may be other features added to this image to video in the future. There might be extension, there might be the 10-second video, there might be using 1.6 Pro. We'll just have to wait and see. No promises. Now, you're not limited to just turning your OpenArt creations into video. You can also come straight to the image to video right here on the home page, and then from this box right here, just click and upload any image that you already have. But one of the benefits about having this in OpenArt is being able to create the videos right here in the same platform where you're already creating awesome images. If you haven't used OpenArt before, in addition to all the features you can use to do cool things with your images, there are tons and tons of models that you can pick from to generate those images. Personally, I tend to like the photographic style, so Flux Dev, Flux Realism, those are kind of my favorites. This new Stoichio, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, New Reality, that's another cool one. They also have Colors, which is the same image generation model that Kling uses, and they've just got a bunch more. So if you're into particular things like anime or cyberpunk or 3D or whatever, they've probably got a model already here for it. And if you're looking for consistent characters and then want to bring those consistent characters into videos, I made a video recently about OpenArt's new beta feature, Characters. With that, you can start with a description of a character or a single image and build a character that you can use to generate images with that character over and over again. And just since I made that video a few weeks ago, they've been busy adding some enhancements to that. Now, this is still in beta, but you now have these creation modes where you can use a prompt and reference, or you can actually pose your character. That's what I was working on with these two images of me over here, is you can click on this little deal, open the pose editor, and you've got all kinds of different ways. Well, you know, you got to start with the right character, I guess. A female base isn't good for me. So we'll switch to the male base, but then you can turn and twist and adjust and position your character any kind of way that you can imagine. I'm still getting the hang of this, so sometimes I can, break my own arm or head if I don't turn these things the right way. The point is, it'll follow that pose that you create and generate the image of your character, whoever it was, in that pose that you created. They've also got this place a character in an image, so you can start with an image, or they provide you some sample ones to work with. You can start with an image and then put your character in your image where or how you want them. And now with this new image to video feature, once you get that image of your character the way you want, well, then you can turn it into a video. Hey, thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you'll come join me in another video.